So there are some moves that the Democrat Party makes that you're just like, you guys could not be any more obvious what your end goal is and what your game plan is. And so with the Doge stuff, for sure, they're like going up on they're holding press conferences and they're like, we hate it that you guys are uncovering fraud and corruption. That's terrible. We want you guys to pay more wasteful money in taxes because it's going to fund our endeavors and our NGOs. So we hate this. And so there are certain moments where you're like, what possible reason would you have to fight this, guys? And one of them is this next story here. So I feel like it's been kind of a little bit lost in the media's, squealing about the Wisconsin Supreme Court election, whereby a liberal judge we mentioned earlier is now going to take over and rubber stamp the Democrats' redistricting plan to gain a House seat. Is that Wisconsin voters turned out to make sure voter ID was put into the state's constitution. So, which again, very strange because like the liberal one, but also they overwhelmingly said we do need voter ID put into our constitution so that we can have secure elections. And about 145,000 voters turned out to endorse the voter ID provision, then actually voted for that leftist Supreme Court judge. So they're definitely fighting against the tide on this one, the Democrats. And a 2024 Gallup poll actually showed 84% of Americans back voter IDs being mandatory to vote in the United States elections. And the great majority of advanced nations, in fact, around the world, require voter IDs in elections. They also have borders. But hey, that's minor details. It's Britain, France, and you should also note that Wisconsin is now dark blue, meaning that they will be dark blue because they just put its voter ID mandate in the state constitution. So they will join those others. But Donald Trump, echoing the will of the people that want secure elections, as well as federal law prohibiting non-citizens voting in elections, he just issued this executive order to make voter ID the standard for United States elections. This was a election integrity executive order, right? He had caveats about state level enforcement. The whole goal of his executive order is to make American elections safer and more secure. Now imagine hearing that and being like, I hate that. What do you guys have to hide? Because now you have Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who joined in with the DNC to stop President Trump's executive order on election integrity. Why? What possible reason? What would one have to gain from stopping our elections from being more secure? What possible reason would you have, as our friend Steve Deace, fellow BlazeTV host, what is the innocent and benign explanation for this group of Democrats to get together and sue Donald Trump for trying to make elections in this country more secure? Amy.
Yeah. So, when you can't win the votes, win in the courts, it's like a classic Democrat move. And I will tell everybody, I had to go show my ID to buy some Benadryl the other day.
Yeah.
Like wild, right? I mean, they wouldn't even let me take that. Here I am, like eyes running, sneezing.
Doesn't that make you feel, I'm like, I'm not a drug, do I look like a drug dealer?
I literally am like, I don't understand. Like, what? You won't let me take home this Benadryl without my ID, but dang it, we can sure vote on the direction of this country without an ID. I mean, it is so obvious, you guys. Look back at the last election. What was it? Every single blue state that Kamala won didn't require voter ID.
Yeah.
We're not dumb, and we also have the internet to go back and look at exactly why you guys don't want voter ID. I mean, they have been pushing this. They've been pushing the voter ID is voter suppression, voter ID is racist narrative for so long. People rejected that during this last election. But you ask, why in the world would they want to? Well, because every state they did win, they didn't require an ID, and they just think they can just keep pushing that and making that more prominent across the United States. Maybe they'll win future elections.
Well, remember, they just went on and on and on about Trump complaining, right, about losing the 2020 election. and him saying that he won it, which I personally believe that he did win it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know how you feel about it.
Well, it's something about that Time magazine article that it literally admitted that there was a cabal of shadowy elites that helped fortify the election. You know, something about that just makes me think it was stolen.
But this is the same thing. Like, if you are going out and saying, listen, I'm going to clear this up once and for all. Everyone's got to bring their ID. It's not a problem. By the way, I'm not telling minorities that they're so stupid that they cannot get a driver's license anymore. I'm not going to say that anymore. So we're just going to clear that up forever. So then when you win the next time, because your ideas are the best ideas, right? And you have all this confidence that there won't be any debate over it. And yet they go, no, we can't have that. So clearly, I mean, it stands to reason that if they're saying no, that you're going to debate whether or not the elections are fair when they win it, which, like you said, you're looking back at the history and every single one that they won, there was no voter ID.
When Democrats win, it's fair. Come on. It's always fair. And
It's always
integrity
fair.
within all the elections whenever they win.
Yeah. And as you guys mentioned, requiring that someone show their ID to vote is actually voter suppression. I want to play Hakeem Jeffries, of course, Democrat darling Hakeem Jeffries, going in front of the podium over in D.C., trying to you can see I say this with AOC a lot, but you can see the hamster like in the head and it's spinning and somehow it gets off track and it is hitting with every single spin, the hamster in the wheel in Hakeem Jeffries' head. Watch.
In that referendum in Wisconsin, then you should have brought the SAVE Act, which is a voter suppression bill that we strongly oppose, to the floor this week. You could have done it. Could have done it today. You could do it tomorrow. We dare you to bring the SAVE Act to the floor.
Do you?
We'll have that discussion. That's voter suppression.
That's voter suppression to make... That's voter suppression to make it more secure to be able to vote. That's voter suppression to ask someone to prove that they are who they say they are. That's voter suppression to, the SAVE Act, of course, is mandating proof of citizenship for federal elections. It's voter suppression to require people follow the damn law because that's already the freaking law. All we're doing is like, hey, you know what? Instead of taking your word for it, we'd like to see some proof of that. And you would think that all of us, right? This should be a bipartisan issue. Everyone in this country should say, I want these things to be more secure. I want to know that my vote matters because if it isn't secure, nobody's vote matters. Our voice doesn't matter because you don't have one. And instead, they want to act like Black people are too stupid to get an ID. I guess. I mean, I can't make sense of that other than maybe saying, well, yes, I guess it is voter suppression if illegals are voting, which is kind of the whole point, right? Yeah, no, I do want some voter suppression. I do want some form of that. The illegal votes, I don't want to be able to vote. If you want to call that voter suppression, go right ahead. But at the end of the day, it's just called following the law.
You know what? It also ties into something else, which is what it means to be an American and how important it is when you get your citizenship, speaking as an immigrant here, that it really matters. And when I voted for the first time in my life, and I voted for Donald Trump, and I've voted twice, and I've twice voted for Donald Trump, it means something to me. Mm-hmm. It means that there's a sense of belonging. And it's a barrier that you've overcome. You feel like you've actually done something to warrant you being in the country. And to just say it doesn't matter, it diminishes what it means to become an American as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's beautiful. And that's actually a great point, too. I mean, I love that. I love hearing from people that came over here that did it the right way, that love what our country stands for and wants to be a part of it. But, I mean, I just don't know when the Black community is going to get so sick and tired of this always falling back on them. I mean, they voted overwhelmingly for President Donald Trump in this last election, and none of them came out and started crying, well, my vote is being suppressed. None of them had an issue with going and getting their ID or having to show that. I mean, it just... When are they going to get tired? This is the same thing we hear over and over. They're so not creative at all in their playbook or in their rhetoric. And I guess they did get tired of it. I guess they did the community did get tired of it last election.
Oh, yeah, they sure did.
Big time.
They sure did. And I mean, you even have places like liberal New York, where you've got the Supreme Court in New York because New York has decided to try to pass bills that allow non-citizens to vote in local elections because they say, well, they live here, so they should get a voice. And you even have places like liberal New York that once it goes up the chain of command, they're like, yeah, no, you can't do that. That's not a thing that we're allowing. And the law is very clear on that. So it's just so funny to listen to people like Hakeem Jeffries and Kamala Harris and all of these Democrats try to convince the American people, minorities in particular, that they are being suppressed and that they are being oppressed. And they're like, actually, I'm flourishing under Donald Trump. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I think part of that is the reaction that the left had to especially black men who said, I'm done, I'm voting. And then they were like, you don't understand, you're betraying your race, you're this, you're that. And they're like, what? Like, the one thing you can't do is challenge like black guys who are masculine dudes and talk to them like that, because they're going to double down and go, no way, you aren't talking to me like that. And so, and now other people have seen it and they're like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not being spoken down to. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And when their life starts getting better because of it.
Yeah, I know. Which, by the way, just to add insult to injury, it was the very effeminate Barack Obama who was trying to tell them that they weren't masculine enough. They're like, we're not listening to this from you. Thanks, guys. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.